Welcome to Disturbing Comics, where we talk about all the craziest comics, and these Michael Myers Halloween comics get as disturbing as they come. I got for you 4 Michael Myers comic book stories that expand the Michael Myers backstory and show just how gruesome he can be when he's not in the movie. Various artists and writers come together to freak me out even more about horror's most terrifying killer. Let me show you some freaky stories that made Kid Spooky even more terrified of Michael Myers. Cue the Gohan. Starting with Halloween, the first death of Laurie Strode. This takes place immediately after Halloween 2, but before Halloween H2O, so ignore 4, 5, and 6 for this comic. Laurie is struggling. She's having nightmares about Michael after surviving and misses her friend Annie the most, including her crush Ben Tramer, the guy who so happened to dress like Michael and got ran over for it. The corpses lined up by Michael Halloween night haunt and give her survivor's guilt months after Michael goes missing. She even misses Alice Martin, who died in Halloween 2. She was supposed to be one of Laurie's friends in the first movie, but nope, too little time, take it out. Laurie has one friend, Sally Winters, who happened to be sick on Halloween day, so she got to live. In this timeline, where Laurie is Michael's sister, and as his sister, she receives the diary that belonged to Judith Myers, Michael's first victim. Judith documents that Michael has always been a sick weirdo, and here's an illustration of Michael after he took out his mom when she's pregnant with Laurie. You even see the car accident that took Michael's parents away. Golly, this is why they keep telling us to put our seatbelts on. The chapter ends with Laurie and her friend looking out the window just like when Laurie first saw Michael, but they see that Michael has terrified a local pervert who gets a heart attack and dies, and parades his body outside to terrify Laurie. In chapter 2, Laurie's mind deteriorates further as she rips away her face, revealing her twisted evil brother. Dr. Loomis has been following Laurie and teams up with her knowing Michael will be back. He says he doesn't know why Michael wants to kill Laurie, which to me is better than him being cursed, but nothing beats Laurie just being a random victim. 1 year after Halloween 1, Laurie goes to a Halloween party, which is bold after what she went through, but suddenly she's attacked by a man in a clown costume, which is a tribute to one of the alternate masks Michael would have worn in the original. He almost ran her ass over like a pedestrian, and she finds the car stopped at her friend Jimmy's house. That was the paramedic who helped her in Halloween 2. She watches Michael break his whole body. So the most annoying thing is that they didn't release chapter 3. So that was the end of the first death of Laurie Strode. Sorry, but Halloween H2O is your closure. Now this next comic is Halloween Behind the Mask, which has 3 volumes, but I really wasn't feeling the other 2. But Halloween Behind the Mask was written by Phil Nutman and illustrated by David Brewer. The comic takes place in the Curse of Thorns timeline, which is films 4, 5, and 6. That's when Michael Myers is a cursed supernatural being. Right after Halloween 6, Tommy Doyle, who was in the film, is trying to make sure that Michael Myers stays dead. And to do that, he steals Dr. Loomis's notes about Michael's experiences in Smith Grove, right when he was admitted. Dr. Loomis wrote about various boys in Michael's section. Damn, Dr. Loomis, you can just call him black. I don't care if it's 1963. Michael took out one of the boys by stuffing a crayon in their eye and burns another with scalding hot water for eating his birthday cake. He drowned someone else on Halloween night a year after killing his sister and even killed Dr. Loomis's fiance. Halloween Behind the Mask Volume 1 ends with Michael Myers breaking into Tommy Doyle's home to kill him. But Tommy got hands. He beat Michael and threw his ass out of his house on fire. It's that kind of energy that'll kill the sister killer. Alright, now we get really gory. This comic is called Halloween Autopsies, written by Stefan Hutchinson, who also wrote the first comic, and also illustrated by Marcus Smith, and it takes place in the H2O timeline. Instead of any character from the movies, we meet Patrick Carter, who gives us plenty exposition to learn about him. He's a lover of horror films, and he finds true horror when he sees that his father has passed away from a heart attack. The face of his father would haunt him forever, and shows him how fake just everything is. He grows up empty and shallow and fakes a personality just to seem normal and wonders why his girlfriend chose him in the first place. Begging for work, Patrick takes a job to study the Michael Myers case and how he is still alive. He gets one look at the crime scene photos, seeing Annie Brackett, and it's like seeing Jesus. He calls her death beautiful and a work of art. He thinks Michael Myers is an artist of death. Patrick is aroused looking at the photos. He starts following Dr. Loomis around hoping to see see if he knows anything about where Michael is. And all the while, his mind goes deeper into the gutter, imagining his girlfriend cosplaying as Two-Face, but like for real actually. He can't stop thinking about how beautiful death is to him. One day he breaks into Dr. Loomis's house and finds crime scene photos, a photo of someone stabbed with scissors, the decapitation of Miss Haddonfield right in front of her mirror, and this teacher death in which she was found with a twisted smile formed with barbed wire. Dr. Loomis turns towards where Patrick is hiding, saying, "I know you're there. Why are you still watching me?" Patrick thinks he's talking about him, but really, Dr. Loomis knows that Michael is following him. Michael Myers has followed Loomis and Patrick and wants to make an example of his new biggest fan, hitting him in the throat so he can't scream out and taking out the eyes, leaving behind rows of film in the sockets. Michael has probably been following Patrick the entire time, knowing his obsession with him, and uses him as a corpse to taunt Dr. Loomis even further. Speaking of Dr. Loomis, we reach out one final comic of today, Halloween 30 Years of Terror, written by Stefan Hutchinson and different artists. But it begins with Tommy Doyle and Lindsay Wallace escaping during the final fight in Halloween 1978. They knock on an elderly couple's door, letting them know to call the police. But unfortunately, Michael notices this after he gets up from getting shot. Years after the husband passes away, the elderly widow promises to always open the door on Halloween. She gives some trick-or-treaters some candy, but then one of them starts bleeding. The candy has been sabotaged with blades, and once they all look behind inside the house, Michael Myers is sitting right there, revenge for helping his victims get away all those years ago. In the next scene, we see Miss Haddonfield winning the beauty pageant. She goes back to her dressing room, followed closely by the Shape, who grabs her and executes her in brutal fashion, leaving her horrified head in front of the mirror. You remember this from the previous comic, right? That's a cool little continuity. I skipped some sections that don't relate to Michael or would just get redundant, but 11 years after the first Halloween, we see a teacher telling her students that if there's anything scaring you, the best thing to do to chase your fears away is smile. For some reason, Michael is at this school and heard this lecture. Meanwhile, Dr. Loomis is in his office, still terrified and bothered that he can't stop Michael. He finds out that Michael broke into his house, giving him a clue on the Haddonfield map that points to the school. Dr. Loomis and Marion Chambers go to the school only to find a dying dog. Michael is right inside the school, showing the school teacher who said smile towards the monsters that smiling won't help against pure evil. Michael takes her out too, but even worse, he ties her up on a swing set with barbed wire, twisting her face into a smile, tormenting Dr. Loomis and Haddonfield years after Laurie was gone. So the interesting thing about Michael Myers is that nobody is 100% on his characterization. Some people say that Michael is like a biological robot with nothing but pure murderous instinct, not even excited to kill, but just doing it. Some people call Michael pure evil, who wishes to relive his first murder, evident by his childlike behavior at times when it comes to his murders. These comics show a side of Michael that is far too intelligent, far too brutal, and far too malicious, and they add even more to an unstoppable killer that terrifies like no other. And that's why you should watch this horror manga that will show you what true fear is. You guys almost got the video to 100K, which is amazing, but this manga has excellent art and the story will keep you on your toes with brutal homicidal rampages. If you like this video, hit the like button and subscribe to see more spooky content. Thanks for watching. Spooky out.